Hey, this is Luke. Welcome to Lure It Up Podcast. Powered by S2E9 magazine. We'll be interviewing local creators who were in and around the clock for the crop over season and beyond. Join us on this journey as we go behind the scenes of what makes crop over, crop over. Welcome to the Lure It Up Podcast, powered by S2E9 magazine, recorded and produced by Robbie at Nameless Productions. On episode 9, we have a catch-up with Megan and a recap on the crop over season, the Barbados Food and Rum Festival, and beyond. Start this off though.
Oh my gosh, just ask me what's going on.
Okay, right, what's going on?
Yes.
Oh,
you're starting S2E9 lately.
I can't wait and say, oh, well, tonight we're here with Megan.
No, just say, look, this is a recap. We've been talking to so much people.
Yeah.
But let's break it down between us.
Right, hey.
You go along.
I gotta say.
Yeah.
Okay, so welcome to...
Look, let me start. Let me start because you're a whole mess. Give me the tape.
Yeah, so that's right. Good.
No, you can stop him, but I want to hear what he's saying. Hello? You hear me?
We hope you enjoy.
Welcome to Lure It Up Podcast with S2E9 magazine.
Okay, Luke. So far, we've been chopping it up with singers, musicians, mixologists, people from the museum. But
right, chefs, everybody.
Chefs,
yeah.
everybody, but we ain't got to chop it up with each other.
Yeah.
And I think that we can say both of us are cultural practitioners in some way.
Absolutely.
And we have stuff to talk about. We had experiences that we had so far over the past few months. So this is just going to be like a little recap.
Slight recap, slight touch back, you know?
Yeah, and just a recap, our introduction to both ourselves and who we are and what we are looking to give back to people.
Yeah, what we're looking to say, what we're looking to achieve. Like, give a better idea of the podcast and the role and what it is that we want to do.
Yes. So for me, S2E9, how I see the S2E9, the word S2E9 is a little different for me because we used to dance to this song in the hotel by Allison. I ain't got me so.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
Yeah.
And when I see that name, it always brings me back to when I used to do that dance in the hotel. So that is my way of seeing S2E9, like a cultural, festive vibe. I say, I find myself in a juve. You know?
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about it. And it always brings me back to my childhood and calypso music and just loving soca.
Yeah.
Also, when I see S2E9, I think about what events I can go to.
Yeah.
And I can't find what's the date. I don't know when it's coming. So let me look at S2E9.
Yeah.
Another thing for S2E9 is how many days left to crop over.
You get him, man. You get him.
And the last thing about S2E9 is I really want to figure out when it was that the first statue was built in Bridgetown. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we talk about his music, but I get you. You know that type of heritage and culture. Yeah,
heritage, and I just love it. I think that's just part of me, and I feel so connected to anything that is Barbadian, that is African, that is part of the diaspora. And so this is why I love S2E9.
I like that. That's really what. Well, when we started, that's what we aimed to achieve. Because, of course, we first started with crop over. I remember it was... Band launches, all that type of stuff. Yeah, that's right.
I know, I model too. So I get you.
Exactly. But that was the focus originally because it was a spin-off of another magazine I used to do called Muse Caribbean.
Yeah.
So it was just, we wanted to focus on crop over, but it didn't feel like the Muse had a space for that. So then we started doing crop over coverage and it's like, let's flash this out fully into a magazine.
And you also had a physical magazine.
Right, we used to have a physical magazine.
So you also got creative with the photography and the makeup and hair and the outfits.
That was a whole models and locations, working with the bands, all that type of stuff. So yeah, that was really it. And then we kept going and going.
I feel like I need a little background though, because not everybody your age are in their 20s or 30s are interested in sharing is interested in sharing Barbadian culture. It might not seem, like fun or cool, but where is your background coming from that you're so interested in sharing that through a cool way, actually, in social media?
Because I found that when we started, there were no crop over magazines. There was like no one repository for crop over information. Like you would have Kaduma.com, but Kaduma.com was fast. And then later on there was
Boom Tribe.
The Boom Tribe, exactly. So, but none of it was consistent, or there was not one single place I could go to online and say, okay, I could find out this about crop over, what it is, what's the events, what's going on, all that type of stuff. So we wanted to create that. And additionally to that, there was no one place for Barbadian culture. The same thing you're talking about, feeling connected to your culture, especially as a young millennial. For Gen Z, there was no, like, you would find stuff scattered across the net, like Bajan phrases or certain words or bits of history, but there was no one singular place I could go to and say, okay, this has a lot of Barbadian stuff. So we wanted to create a space like that too as well.
And you also study history.
Right, I study history too as well. So
you could have just said all that.
But I want to flash it out more so people can understand, as you just say more about what is that, what's going on.
It's true. So you study history at what level? Like CSC?
CSC, university, all that.
What type of history? Caribbean history?
Yeah, it was, they gave us a broad history. So it was Caribbean, it was world history. So it would be like British, South Africa, all types of stuff like that.
Well, I studied Caribbean history. Well, my major at school was psychology. So we needed to do history subjects as well as management and anything in counseling. So for me, history at on the tertiary level, which is at UE, versus history at primary school or secondary school is completely different.
Vastly different.
Different, and it feels like I know how to retell my story or figure out who we really are. And I remember my history teacher, Alana, I can't remember her last name, but she told a completely different story about the Caribbean, about the Arawaks and the Caribs, and she showed us pictures and made us elevated as a race. And I think that in the modern sense, Basil D does that. It shows the Van Stan was not always the Van Stan.
Right,
this is what the airport used to look like.
Yeah.
Like we get a visual representative, visual look at what it used to be instead of like it be pretending or try to figure out what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that if we really know our true history, you know ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a really, I think history as a retrospective is important to be able to understand yourself, because obviously we didn't drop out the sky in 1966. We didn't materialize, there must be something to figure out. Okay, who am I?
Yeah.
Where do I come from? What do I talk about? What are we saying? Why do we do these things? Why are these our customs? Why is this our music? All that type of stuff. And then also I find history is a good grounding. Otherwise as a people, we will get lost. So it's important stuff like that, because then if you don't know like your history and where you come from, you don't know where you're going, because everything would just be all a blur. It would be shaky.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, we've been doing the food and rum artists for a little bit. So then we can really understand that our history comes from our norms and cultures, like food and how we eat and how we dress and the music we listen to.
Yeah.
And for instance, the way how we dance and the way how we move. We therefore understand who we are. So exactly. I love that.
Exactly. I think we had the same history actually, and if I can remember correctly, she's Alana Johnson.
Yes, Alana Johnson. Weirdy lady.
Yeah,
she just like Mia.
Yes, she just like Mia. Yeah, exactly.
And she's wearing this white thing.
White stuff.
Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
She don't play though.
Yeah, she don't. I was actually looking back for her notes, because this is a whole side topic.
Her notes are vast.
They were vast. They were good. So I was like, how do I get back this stuff that I put in a box and put away?
Yeah, but it all come from her head.
Right, she's good. She's very intelligent. I can't find that in my old books. But she had she told us about a different perspective on Grantley Adams. The same thing you're talking about. So what we would have learned in primary school, when we got to university, they were like, throw it out. Like, all that's incorrect.
Yeah.
So like what she taught us about Grantley Adams was completely different to what we had learned before. So she gave a real picture, because it was like, oh, Granny Adams, national hero, blah, blah, and she was like, oh, this guy was actually deeply anti-Black. He was, like, he led to a lot of stuff. Like, he was deeply, deeply problematic. So to have him elevate as a national hero brings a lot of questions into the Barbadian identity.
She also brings the forefront to me that we have Bussa as a statue, but she really explained that Bussa is just a figment of our imagination.
Right.
It might not have been a real person.
That's a big argument. Yeah.
It might not have been a real person. It might not, because back then, like, how we know he named Bussa?
Exactly.
How we know what he looked like? Everybody looked the same according to the colonizer back then. So when we have this person that we use as a national hero, it could be something saying that this person could be within all of us.
Right. Because that's what it's saying, that he's like, even as the leader of the Bussa Rebellion, he wasn't. So he would have been mentioned in the court pages afterwards, like twice by two people, but not as a figurehead.
Right.
So then it's like, how did this whole narrative come about that he's this person? So he really is kind of mythological in a sense, even though you see him in the record, like from this plantation,
we
from
see him on the roundabout.
But then, exactly, that's actually, that's just the emancipation statue. That's not supposed to be him.
Oh, really?
Right, yeah. I know, right? Yeah, that's right. It's crazy. Yeah, it's just
so that's not Bussa?
No, it's not Bussa. It's just supposed to represent emancipation.
No way. But you see that crazy. We need to know these things. Yeah,
and so there's a lot of stories that need to be done over. So
what we say, we had the Bussa roundabout?
Who you asking? But a lot of people see it as Bussa. It just became known as that.
Wow. See what we need Bussa, D?
Right?
Because I swear that's Bussa.
Yeah, a lot of people, I still call it Bussa roundabout. I don't obviously say, oh, the emancipation statue. But that's Bussa,
Wow.
So it seems to be like a representation of him, of his lightness, that type of stuff.
Right. Okay, let's take it all the way back to modern things, though. So for me, like, how has crop over been for you?
Crop over it was excellent, So because me personally,
the official crop over ambassador.
For me personally, I got to become an ambassador, so it was very fun. And then to watch NCF partner with BTMI and do the work, and then we did stuff with influencers and go to all the different events and hop around while still trying to remain as balanced as possible.
It was good for me too. As a dancer, we didn't get the opportunity to perform as much as we do, and they didn't have the competitions like they did. But just as a patron, I really just enjoy seeing events pop up. Or like people was a little iffy at first, but then you could see this and this and this and this all start happening, and people got more comfortable. And again, seeing just people loving on each other and dancing and enjoying the festival. And like you said, BTMI and NCF collaborating was very fresh and new, and the quality of events changed.
Yeah.
So it's a little difference that I really appreciated that. I know that I'm not sure when you're going to hear this podcast, but we are moving into November, and there are, again, a bunch of events. And that's also great to see.
Yeah, it's good to see entertainment come back in a big way.
Yeah.
What is that you look forward to? Well, not just for November, but for crop over in the future, especially as it relates to you being a dancer?
You know what? For me, it's not really crop over. I love that the BTMA and NCF are collaborating, but if it's a way that artists can show their art all year round, and also for crop over, have a space where, and actually Mark Ford, we spoke about this in the podcast before. He said that usually what they're looking for artists to do is do the same thing every year. So you're going to see the steel pan, the Soapwalkers and Monosalis. Like, this is a staple, but we don't really get to create what we want and show who we are and be authentic enough. So as performers, hopefully next year we get the opportunity to showcase our talents and produce more shows that we would want people to see, instead of what we usually do every year.
Actually, that's a brilliant perspective, because I never thought about it like that. Because I just thought, steel band, steel walker, dancers come perform. It's not that.
Like, for instance, there's the folk there's the folk concert, and we know how we know the probably 1966, the riot, something like that. You're going to retell that story, but there's so many different stories to tell as artists, as Bajans, as people from the diaspora. So just to tell new stories, tell something fresh, like trust me, people are seeing the same thing.
Right.
They're getting tired now, and they know that we have access to social media. I don't even have to leave my house. I can just watch it on,
exactly,
on my phone.
on your phone, on YouTube, something.
So if we have that access to like just fresh new stuff and just be as creative as possible and to more collaborate with each other, that would be great to see. So yeah.
I actually like that point about the full concert because I saw it for the first time, just as you say, on
Really?
YouTube on my phone this year.
You watch it for the first
Right,
time? I've been doing it for like 10 years.
Exactly, yeah, that's what I say. Exactly, you say the same thing. So
Yeah.
then, like, as you talk about what you learn at university in terms of the Amerindians and
Yes.
like the colonization and coming through and then slavery, emancipation, is like there are other stories that need to be told. I think we talked about this before. Mirror, Mirror, you remember that?
I know Mirror, Mirror.
Yeah, that was really good. Never like to
Yeah.
see that again. So if there were more productions like that that told the story,
I think that story was told already as well.
right? Okay, I didn't even know that, but but like similar ones like that, as creative as that, as you know, that you could be invested in as a Barbadian, see your culture reflected,
and just the authenticity of a character. It doesn't even have to be a full story. Like you see Clement Payne or not even Clement Payne. It could be like what you said, Bussa. Like if he's not a real person, we could now get creative and give him a full story.
Full
you know,
story,
who was he before he was enslaved?
Right,
you know, like if you watch Woman King recently. That story was
gosh,
told, yes, it was told with like in slavery times, but there were still kings and queens, and just retelling like a personal story that you feel attached to, especially for the young people that are coming up now. They're not really seeing stories about us.
No, we don't exactly.
Yeah,
so that's actually a very good point.
yeah. What are you looking for to next year?
That's actually, I guess, for things to become more fleshed out, like same NCF and BTMI relationship, but more fleshing in terms of like who we are as a people, like what we're trying to say with Crop Over and becoming like more involved in the festival rather than just saying it's a bunch of events and then you gotta jump up at the end of it. It's like really, really securing what it is, as in this is a festival that has existed for centuries. Like, what are we saying with this? Where are we moving forward? Like, how is it more than just events? Like, how do we have cultural stuff? How do we basically big up the cultural stuff? How do we make sure that this is celebrated within the festival? How do we also, Kaduma, and let's keep saying that Kaduma is shrinking. So how do we make sure that it is highlighted at the end of the festival? How do we make sure that more people buy into it, especially more Barbadians? How do we get more people involved? Like, what processes
when you say that, I went back to the interview we did a few nights ago with St. Andrew Carnival, and I was thinking about the capitalization of Crop Over and how it's becoming like more of an international festival, which is great, but then it's becoming a little watered down because we want to make it more palatable to the international
audience,
crowd, you know? But outside of that, St. Andrew Carnival made it feel like, what about community stuff?
Right, yeah.
Like, we spend so much time on the international that we forget to build back the community.
That's true.
And I think that St. Andrew Carnival, like, when they were talking about each section was a different place in St. Andrew and, like, giving the scenery, and it just felt like home. They call it, like, the sweetest jump up, the sweetest escape, you know? And I think that when you create a level of comfort and home amongst your community, and when people come here, them go fit in.
Exactly. Them go fit into it, not that you've created it.
Yeah,
them
around them.
Yeah.
You know, more of a microscopic than a macroscopic view of Crop Over.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
I like that concept. That's actually really good. Like that, if we turn back into ourselves and look at ourselves and say, how are we speaking to the people? Are we involved with them? Are they feeling involved? Do they feel seen?
Yes.
Do they feel heard? That type of stuff.
Yeah, and maybe that's why people were the whole route of Kaduma was so controversial because that was done in a way that is more comfortable for the international crowd to take in. But people love the shops and the houses and the snow clothes and
meandering through the communities.
People love that, and that's part of Barbadian culture that is so significant to Kaduma Day. So maybe, I'm not sure if that will ever go back there, but just the level of community I would love for people to always have. So yeah.
I think that's a good point. I like both routes, just to be clear. Exactly. I like the highway too. It was good. It was free. It was a lot wide and open, but I do get the argument for the communities and the way that it will wind through down Station Hill and down Bank Hall and the road. So, and you could stop at somebody's house. Somebody say the road side of Aki's, this body here, somebody down Black Rock got this. You buy a piece of food.
I've jumped Trinidad Carnival. You don't get that.
No, you don't. You absolutely don't.
You don't get that. So then, people that are into carnivals and festivals would definitely compare, why it's different than the next. And I would definitely say that aspect is different than the other carnivals. So, yeah.
I did, and even like the ending on Spring Garden next to the sea and all that type of stuff, that was
cool
nice.
Down. Yeah.
So that was, So as you say, you definitely get an Trinidad Carnival that just can't hot on them rhythms, and that's about it. So
hot on a rhythm, right, TC? What is your favorite interview so far that you did?
That's a good question. I would say Laura, because she was so prepared and good. Laura from Jump Promotions for Powder. So that was really good. I don't really know if I have a favorite, because all were so dynamic, all changed so much all the time. I did also like the museum, bring them back, and
I was so jealous that I didn't get to hear that. Tell me about that really quick.
That was because there was the Duppy tour we talked about, and then we went on to other stuff that the museum does and the galleries and the way that they've evolved and stuff that they're looking forward to. And their past as the garrison and being part of the garrison area, and the museum used to be a prison, all that type of stuff.
Real?
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah, exactly. It was good.
I like that.
It was really good.
Mine? I actually like St. Andrew Carnival.
Right, that was really good.
I guess because that was the more recent one that we did.
That you could remember.
I like the Blur guys.
Michael Ray.
I like, that they are young and fresh and they want to bring their own perspective on being a promoter and their own energy and vibe on it. So I like them. And I like Shane Jones, his perspective on being a songwriter.
I love that, actually. It gave you a whole new perspective. I never thought about this.
Yeah, so just songwriter and just being a manager and a producer behind artists. I had like Shane Jones as well. So yeah, what are you looking forward to for like people that come on next? Like, who do you want to talk to?
That's a really good question. I guess more cultural practitioners and more musicians, like more artists, to get look at their perspectives, because they find that they are not heard. I realize that with the chefs and the mixologists, I realize that they have perspectives that we didn't even consider. Same with Shane Jones.
Yes.
We have perspectives we didn't consider at all. And it's like, this is new and this is fresh, and being able to amplify those voices.
And the arc thing about this entire podcast is all about storytelling.
Right.
I will always go back to that because we just had Shane on and you guys will hear him. Well, you probably did hear him already. But he had a story that was complex in the sense that he said he got hurt, he pivoted, he was a cultural practitioner as a stoat walker and moved into being a mixologist. And it's all about storytelling. And when go back, when you know your story about yourself, then it's so easy to show who you are in your creative aspects. And I love the people that come and talk about that.
Like where you came from, where you are now, where you're going.
Yeah, and how you can inspire other creative and other artists to be the best that they could be. So, yeah.
Yeah, actually who I really like too, same as you said, because it's recent for me too, Chef Hassan Bromley. He was really good.
Tell me
really
about
good.
That.
Because he's like, I went to interview him because I know his wife. So I knew that he had just come into the festival. He had come from overseas. So I'm like, okay, where did they choose him? What's his story? What's going on here? And it was really good. He's very nomadic. I think he was born in the US.
Okay.
And moved to the UK, and he was between the UK and Australia.
Oh, wow.
Then he met a Barbadian, so they came back, they got married.
Barbadian love story.
I know, right?
I love. Okay.
So, and he was really good because then I actually stumbled across it by accident because I just wanted to interview him for his story, but that his mother was a vegetarian, so his dishes are all very vegetarian, vegan inspired. Exactly, it was so good. And then how he got involved in Barbadian culture and the food that he had.
And it's probably a mixture of Barbadian and
wherever he's from. Exactly. He was saying that he's going to do one too. Again, I don't know when it's going to come out, but he's going to do one too that a dish at Food and Rum that highlights his Jewish background.
Oh, Jewish?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, this is really unique. He wanted to do one that speaks to Barbadian Christmas and one that speaks to his Jewish background.
One word that I like too was April. And from the BTMA. And just having an understanding of how we want to be seen as larger than life as a country. Barbados, super small, 168 square miles. And we have the ability to know that we have social media to market ourselves in a way that can overpower a continent just by the Bajan soul.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, and when we understand the accessibility of social media and knowing ourselves, we could be a force, like Brianna,
serious force to be reckoned with.
To be reckoned with, and once we know ourselves, then we can market ourselves in any way. And people will always come and people will love it. Bajan everywhere.
Everywhere. The Barbadian story is so unique, It's really something different that you don't get anywhere else.
You will see it definitely on Basel DP.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's also what I want to highlight too, because again, for younger millennials and Gen Z, it's like we so inundated with American culture, with everybody else's culture, Jamaican culture and music, is that it's hard to hear that Barbadian voice. Is like, at night you would hear the whistling frogs and crickets, but you tune it out. So it's like, because it's so there for you, you tune it out. And you don't hear it. It's like you have to start unconsciously
remember that. And if you live in
a
concrete jungle, you would never hear that.
You would never hear that, exactly.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Right, yeah. So it's like, we want to really like point out, like, you can hear that cricket type of thing. Like, so you constantly are remembering your culture and what it is, your people, your music, your food, your stories. So you never lose sight of that and think, oh, my culture is boring. I wish I was American. I wish I was Nigerian. I wish I was Jamaican. People seem to have more fun. It seems to be cooler, blah, blah, blah. So we have our own stuff that's going on. We have our own stuff that's going for us. And it's like, you don't want to compete with anybody else or be seen to be competing with anybody else because the story is unique. It's its own lane type of thing.
This was good.
Yeah.
This was good. And listen, we don't have any notes. We just talking. We just vibing. So this is good.
Yeah,
I wish you best. Like, I love this, and I Basel is gonna go like so far, and
I think people want to know about you.
Me?
Yes, you, Megan.
But we talked about me already.
No, exactly. We want to know about your history, like where you come from, how you got involved in the podcast.
All right, I can tell you real quick.
Yeah,
I can tell you real quick. Okay,
your story as a dancer.
Okay, sure, cool. So I'm a dancer. I started dancing at 3 years old with Calvin Carvalho at my nursery school, and I went to school at Wesley Hall. From Wesley Hall is like a community in town, so we went to the community group, and I danced in Africa for the majority of my time. Absolutely love dancing in Africa because we get so much opportunities to do dance at a lot of cultural events. So all of my history, all of what I know, everybody that comes in here and knows me is because I dance in Africa. So there's that. And I danced in Africa for 20 years plus. And between that, I am also a musician. My dad was a musician. And so I played about 4 instruments: clarinet, the flute, the trumpet, the drums. But my main instrument was the clarinet. Went to school at Foundation, also a very musical school, did CSC music. All that time I'm dancing. So it's dancing, music, and then I had like a little awkward stage. I wouldn't say awkward, but when you hit the puberty, teenage stage, because I've been performing so much, it was easy for me to branch into like modeling. So before modeling, I got into the Whole Town pageant, which was my first pageant. And I became Miss Whole Town. I won the pageant, my first pageant.
Yeah.
And again, Whole Town is a very cultural pageant. Like, we had to learn Barbadian history, know about, Whole Town was the first settlement in Barbados. So I had to know, I know all that history from the top of my head. I could tell you it no. So there's that. And then I went on to do pageants representing Barbados and St. Kitts, Antigua, Bahamas, JC. So again, like, I knew my culture so much because a pageant girl, you doing regional pageants, you gotta be like on the radio talking about pageants and Barbados. So I did that. I did about 4 pageants, and my last pageant was Miss Universe 2018. Came second. Absolutely love the pageant, and that's where my speaking came into because I had a lot of media training with Gaina Marshall. So we trained for about 6 months, and just figuring out your personal story. She always tells us you got sound bites, say your story in 60 seconds, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, at least 5 seconds. So yeah, my background is of media training is all through pageantry, dancer, singer, not singer, oh my God, musician, and then I branched out and created my own brand called Vi25, where I now teach dance classes every single day. Yo, what time is it now? It's 10:38. I teach 2 classes before I come here at 8 o'clock. I started my day at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I teach class every day, private classes, group classes, stretch classes, one-on-one classes. I teach kids all the way from 3 years old to adults all the way to 6 years old. I work at the Heart and Stroke Foundation with stroke patients. So I teach patients in the chairs, patients that could walk but still want to dance. I do a lot of mentorship and what you call workshopping through movement with schools. So I do a lot of that as well. And I study psychology at UE. So there's that. So I find a way to mix my psychology background with dance and figure out how to merge it too. So definitely when I teach kids, I allow them to use their mind to understand their form of creativity. So for instance, there's color therapy. So each color has a feeling. So red might feel angry, yellow might feel cool, blue might feel calm, green might feel rich. So when you figure out your feelings, then you can perform that. So there's things that I do like that as well. Listen, I just do so much things and I like every single one. Oh, and I work at IQ Opticians. Yeah. So I'm an optical dispenser as well. And that's all about fashion and style. So I do that. It's also my full-time job. So yeah, that's a lot. And I love every single one. And like Shane said, like, you should never limit yourself in anything you do. And there's always more. I mean, like, you don't want to push yourself too much, but when you can use your right side and the left side of your brain at different times, you can understand that there's so much to the human brain and what we can do. So, yeah, that's me.
That is, quite a story. Yeah. Really, the musical instruments and everything.
That's me.
Take my hat off to you.
And there's so much more that I want to do. And just being in a space around creatives makes me feel like I'm at home. I mean, like, it seems like I do a lot. Well, I do a lot, but I'm not in all these spaces. I'm not around a lot of things because I really love to be around like really creative people. So yeah, that's how I create my own. But I think this is enough.
Yeah.
This is definitely enough. This is enough.
Definitely. That's quite a story and a half. Yeah. Really and truly. So, so where do you want to go from here then? You're a teacher already, at such a young age too as well.
I guess I'm young, yeah. I would like to build my own school, my dance school. And I love the gym as well. So I want the school to be surrounded around culture, African culture, Afrobeats, but as well understanding body fitness, body conditioning, just knowing the basics of the body and the movement. So as I tell you, I teach from kids from 3 to stroke patients all the way up to like 70. So there's a wide range of bodies that I see every week and movement. And therefore dance is just not only like what you see on TikTok.
Right. Exactly.
It is just understanding movement that it makes me feel happy.
Okay, that's
And dance is healing. Movement is healing. And when you understand how to move the body, then you could heal your body through movement. So that's my thing.
I like that. That's actually really good. That's a really good song. But you know the TikTok dances, the Renegade and that. Was it Beyonce one, the Megan Thee Stallion one?
Savage.
I'm a savage, right?
Yeah. No.
I know there's a Cuff It one. You could do that one.
I could do that. Hey.
I like too much work. I wish I could.
So dance is healing, and I just love it so much. I love to teach. I love to see people transform.
Mm-hmm.
I love that somebody can message me like they did earlier this morning and say, "Hey, Megan, I just really love your class and I was down, but, some way this made me feel better." And that's all I just like. Money, nothing means nothing to me. But that message, like hearing everything feels better, it makes me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's good. I like that. Like, it's not just, I doing a job. I hear, I used to do dances. Like, dance is healing, movement is healing. It's like you're really involved in the spirit of it. And then it's like we don't always hear, again, this is a different perspective because we don't always hear dancers and their perspectives and their challenges and the things that they go through.
Injury and stuff like that is a big thing to a dance. So, hopefully one day we can get a dancer and excited.
Right. I know.
I have my own podcast too, a dancer.
Right, you have Bite 25, right?
Yeah, Bite 25 podcast. But dancers got a lot of stuff to talk about and
So you would ever do theater or anything like that?
I actually did. So as a model and a model as well, we would do a lot of casting. So you do a lot of plays and stuff like that and dancing. So I've been in theater before.
Wow.
Nothing new. I won't call myself a triple threat though.
Right.
I was a quadruple threat. I was everything.
Yeah, you have a lot under your belt again for such a young age, and then being able to, I could definitely see you creating your own studio.
For sure. That
you got
happen.
the name and everything already. You got the background. You know what you're doing.
I done brand it already.
Stuff. Is that you see?
I got myself. I got me.
So it's good to see the way your mind works, especially as a young creative, and the way that you have forward and you want to go forward. And it's like, I'm a creative. I've chosen this path. This is what I want to do, and this is where I see myself going.
Yeah.
And these are the actionable steps I'm putting in place to reach that spot.
That's it.
That's really cool. And then that you still, like, it's not singular, your journey, in that you still have a view for, like, being able to talk to other people and hear their voices and hear their stories.
It's very inspiring.
Yeah.
I love it. I love to hear other people's stories because then you're not alone. And especially in the creative space, it may feel
very lonely. Very
lonely. Yeah. So I think this is good.
Yeah.
We got enough. We know about Luke already. Exactly. And Robbie on his phone, he listen to Vida more.
Exactly. So
I think this is it. He is over us.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, guys, thank you so much for listening to us rant about everything.
Just talk and let our hair down instead of it. Everybody else, so you get to hear the voice behind the show.
Yeah. So this is me, Megan. This is Luke.
Yes.
And the cultural ambassador.
Yes. We're your hosts.
Yes, we're your hosts. And I hope you continue to listen. And this comes from our hearts. And we really want you to know more about yourself if you're a Barbadian listener. If you're listening from overseas, you get to know more about our culture.
Right.
So
welcome.
Correct.
Welcome. Thank you for listening to our podcast. This episode was recorded and produced by Robbie at Nameless Productions.
That's Nameless.